Dear students, this is the third lecture on PLSQL. In first two lectures, we have seen the PLSQL basics, then how to write anonymous block. Then in second lecture, we have seen the exception handling, how we can handle errors in PLSQL. Now in continuation, this is the third lecture on PLSQL, wherein we will see what are the different PLSQL database objects. Mainly, we have to focus on subprograms, procedures, and functions. What is their need? Why we need these procedures and functions? Then we have to see that how we can create procedures and functions, and after creating, how we can call these procedures and functions in PLSQL block. So at the end of this session, you will be able to understand subprograms and their needs. You will also able to comprehend the difference between stored and unstored subprograms, because we already have seen the anonymous block, which is not stored in memory, but these subprograms, procedures, and functions we can store in memory, and whenever required we can call them. So what is the difference between the stored and unstored, that we have to see. Then you will be able to create and drop stored procedures and functions, and then you will able to understand to call procedures and functions in PLSQL block. So basically, what is subprogram? A PLSQL subprogram is a named PLSQL block that can be invoked repeatedly. So as we have seen in anonymous block, PLSQL blocks, we can have two types of PLSQL blocks. In very first lecture, we have seen that. So anonymous block, and second type is there, that is a named block. So these procedure and functions, those are subprograms which are the named PLSQL block. You can give our name to that block. So these subprograms are either a procedure or a function. Basically, what is the difference? The small difference between procedure and function is you use a procedure to perform an action and function to compute and return a value. So what exactly the meaning of this statement, that we'll see in further slides. Basically, what is the need of these subprograms? Whenever we have to perform some repeated task, and for that purpose we'll require some set of SQL statements. So we can group those set of SQL statements to form a PLSQL block, which is a named PLSQL block, that is a subprogram. Subprogram offers all features of modular programming, that we'll see that how it provides the features of modular programming. And unlike PLSQL anonymous block, which we have seen, a subprogram can be invoked by another subprogram or program, which is called as the calling program. So as I said, these subprogram, procedures, and functions are the named PLSQL block. We can compile those procedures and functions after creation. Once it is successfully compiled, it will be stored in memory, so that in future any PLSQL block can call that stored function or stored procedure in their program. So we can ensure the reusability of that program. Like this, similar procedures and functions we can club together into one package, so that packageability is also one of the need of this subprogram. So we'll start with the first, that is a stored procedure. A stored procedure is a named PLSQL block. The name itself, it says it is a stored procedure. As I said, when you are writing a procedure, unlike your anonymous block, we can compile that procedure, and as it is having some name, with that name, that structure of that procedure will be stored into the memory. And next time, whenever any PLSQL block with proper access control can have that procedure to be accessed in their block. So it is a named PLSQL block, that is a stored procedure. It performs some action. It can be stored in the database, as I said, as a database object for repeated execution. So this is the syntax which is displayed on your screen for creation of stored procedure. If you can see the syntax, it is a create, and in square bracket it is written or replace. Whatever is written in square bracket, that is optional. You can write like this: create procedure, procedure name. Why this or replace is written? If you are writing create or replace like this, then if the procedure with the same name is already available in the computer, then when you are writing create or replace, it will replace the existing procedure which is stored in the machine. So for that purpose, you can write or replace. So syntax is create or replace procedure, procedure name. You can pass certain arguments. It is optional again. In procedure and functions, they may have argument or they may not have the argument. If you want to give, if you want to pass this argument, then it should be in some format, that name of that argument, mode we need to give, and data type. So what is that mode, that we'll see in next slide. And along with that, we need to write the data type of that arguments. So you can have multiple arguments, single argument or no argument to be passed to the procedure. Then after writing this, you can write the is keyword, and then you can declare whatever you want to declare into the declare section. It may be your variable constants like that. After declaration, you can enter into the begin. For what you are writing the procedure, all those actions in terms of SQL statements, you can write into the begin section. If you want to handle the exceptions, as we already have seen how to handle exceptions into the anonymous block, the same here also you can handle into the exception section. Then you can end the procedure. While ending this procedure, you can write end and name of procedure. If you are not writing the procedure name, then also end and semicolon is sufficient. So this is the syntax for creation of stored procedure. As I said, if you can see on the screen, here it is written mode. So what is this mode? There are three modes you can have. One is in mode, out mode, and in out mode. If nothing is written, it is the in mode, right? So it is written default parameter mode is in. In is nothing but that argument will access the value. So value is passed into subprogram. So that will be, we are giving input through that argument to the procedure. So that is the in. That is a by default. Even though you are not writing any mode, that means it is a in mode. If you want to go for using the argument for value which is returned to the calling environment, then you can use the out parameter. So it is not by default, it needs to be specified. So for example, x is the argument you are passing, and you want that x should take the return value of that block, then you should write the out parameter. And third mode is there, that is the in out parameter. It is also not the by default, it needs to be mentioned, but when the same argument or that variable you want to use for taking the value or giving input value to the block, as well as the same parameter you have to use for returning the value. So value is passed into subprogram and formatted value is returned to the calling environment. If for both the purposes you want to use the same argument, then you can use this in out, right? So in out and in out, these are the three parameters you can use. So how it can be used actually into the procedure, that we'll see with the example, so that your idea will get clear. Now you keep in mind these subprograms like stored procedures and functions you can write for a requirement for a certain task which may arise repeatedly in your environment. So in place of writing it again and again in each and every PLSQL block, that functionality can be created using the procedure, and that procedure can be compiled and it can be stored into the Oracle systems database, so that in future need not to write it again, you can just call it and use in your PLSQL block. So I have written one procedure which is very simple procedures. To understand the concept of this procedure, I have written this example. This example is written using the in mode. So our syntax is create or replace procedure, class. So this procedure class is the name pro class of that procedure. What this procedure is doing, this procedure is taking two values as input. One is m marks and another is m roll. Both are in means both will be taken. So for this procedure these two inputs are required because it is a in parameter, right? And both will be of number data type. So as per syntax we have written it, create or replace procedure. If this class procedure is already created in your system, it will be replaced by this new structure because we are writing create or replace. So create or replace procedure pro class, this will be the two inputs this procedure is expecting. And after taking this roll number and marks, we have to decide the class of that student. So how to decide? If these marks which are given input to this procedure are between 55 to 60, then it will be HSC as a class. Else, if it is in between 50 to 55, it is second class. Else, if it is greater than 66, it is a distinction. So all these values will be updated into the table. So for this small requirement, I have written this procedure. It is very simple. I am not handling any exceptions into this procedure. But if you want to handle the exceptions, you can refer to our lecture number 2 and you can write here exception and you can handle it. So you can handle any type of exception. It may be a numbered, named, or it may be user defined exception. Now, once this procedure is created, this procedure is taking two values as input, and what should be done by this procedure, which is written here. Now we need to give these two values as input to this procedure. If you can see that nowhere we are giving input, we are just saying that we are expecting marks and roll number as input, and this action will be performed on that. So how to give these inputs to the procedure? By writing the PLSQL block, which is on the next screen. So I have written one PLSQL block, which is an anonymous block. What we'll do, first of all, we'll create this procedure. How to create that? You will write this definition of procedure. You will compile that. Then it will be stored into the system. So once it is stored into the system, you can call this pro class procedure in any PLSQL block. So I have called this pro class procedure into this PLSQL block. This procedure is expecting mroll and mmarks as a input. So this is the block which is giving these two input parameters to the procedure. So for that purpose, I have written this procedure. Some variables are declared. I have begin. I am taking roll number from the user. This we already have seen how to take the roll number from user, and whatever roll number is taken from user, for that roll number we will go to student 33 table, and for that roll number we'll take the roll number and marks into these variables mroll and mmarks. Now we are having mroll and mmarks. These two variables are holding these values from student 33, and these values are passed to the procedure. Now we are calling this procedure. How to call it? Simply write the name of the procedure and pass the parameters. Now what will be the value of mmarks here? The value of mmarks will be the value which is value of marks which is fetched from student 33 for the roll number which is taken from the user. Similarly for roll number. So these two values are passed to the procedure. When it is called, then the stored procedure which is there into the memory, that will be executed and it will take the appropriate action. So this is just the calling for PLSQL block. For demonstration, we will try to create this procedure. We'll go for creating this procedure. I will copy this block. We'll go to SQL, right? I will create the procedure. Yes, procedure for creation. I will put the slash. I will enter. The procedure is created. For example, if some problem is there into this procedure, or it is not created with, or it is created with some error, then it will display the message procedure created with compilation errors. Then in that case, to see what errors are there, you need to write this statement, show errors. Now there is no error, so it will not show. So show errors slash enter it will put, then you can see the errors into the system, into the procedure. Now procedure is created. Now it is successfully created means this proclass procedure is stored into the memory of this Oracle. Now, anytime you can write a PLSQL block to call that procedure. So now I will be calling this in this PLSQL block, right? Now block is written like this. I will put slash. Now it is asking roll number. Suppose I have given roll number 3. Okay. I will enter. It is saying PLSQL procedure successfully created, completed. So what should happen? For that roll number 2 into the table, I will check the roll number, select star from, it is a table stud 33. Now roll number 3, the class is set. Okay, so class is 54 marks are there, then class will be second class. As per our definition, for 54, it will be in between 50 to 55, class is yes, which is updated. Now again we'll see for roll number 2, class is not set. So again you can go for executing the procedure and you can give the roll number 2. Let us see what happens. I am executing the block again and we'll give roll number 2. Roll number 2, it is 67 marks. Let us see what happens into the table after execution. Select star from stud 33. See here, initially nothing was there into the class. Now against roll number 2, class is D. It is a distinction because our definition says into procedure, if it is greater than 66, then class should be D. So like this, you can use the stored procedure. Here, both the variables we have taken as the variable for with mode n. See here, both the variables were with mode n. Now we'll see the next part. So this we have executed. Now the creation of procedure with out mode, how we can use. See here, I have created the procedure with another name, prod details. This is the another procedure I am creating wherein I am passing 3 parameters, mRoll, mmarks and mclass. These are the arguments passed. Here nothing is written, mode is not written. That means by default it is the in. So mRoll will be the input and mmarks and mclass, the out mode is given, means here this procedure will return certain values. Those are out. That's why mmarks and mclass are the out arguments. Then is, nothing is declared. Go for begin. Select marks and class into mmarks and mclass. So I am taking these 2 values into mmarks and mclass from stud 33 table, where roll equals to mRoll. And whatever is taken, mmarks and mclass, I am just displaying on the screen, mmarks and mclass. That is just ended. Now this is the procedure. Once it is created, once it is compiled, it will be stored, right? Now we need to pass some values. What are the values of mmarks, mclass and mRoll? Because these 3 parameters needs to be passed, mRoll, mmarks and mclass. Mmarks and mclass will be getting from this statement from student 33, but we want roll equals to mRoll. So we want the value of mRoll, so that automatically we'll be getting value of mmarks and mclass, which will be passed to the procedure. So how to take this mRoll? We can take it from user by calling this procedure into the PLSQL block. So I have declared certain variable into this PLSQL block. I am taking the roll number from user and assign to mRoll and then calling the procedure. For calling the procedure, mRoll input I have given and mmarks and mclass, that will be the output. So that is ended. Let us see similarly. I am creating this procedure. Procedure created successfully. Okay, we will call this PLSQL block. Enter. It will ask for roll number. So for example, I have given roll number 1. So it is displaying this roll number, marks and class. Roll number 1's marks are 58, class is HSC. Let us see into table. Is it like that? From stud 33, roll number 1, marks are 58, and class is higher second class, that you can see on the screen, roll numbers, marks and class. So see here, in this procedure, two types of variables were passed. One was mroll, which was the input, that is the in mode variable, and mmarks and mclass are out mode variables. So how to use that out, that also we have seen. And very small example for in out, that we'll see. I have created one procedure, that is procedure salary raise, that is only one variable which is declared, that is of in out type of variable. So same variable for taking the input, same variable for output. So after taking that psal, we'll be giving input first, and then whatever input psal is there, that will be equals to psal plus psal into 50.15. Means this procedure will take psal, that salary, from the user, and displays outputs the salary after 15% increment. So for that purpose, psal plus psal into 0.15, which is given, and that will be displayed on the screen. So this procedure is created. We need to give the psal, because it is of in out type of variable. So first we need to give salary input to the procedure. So that can be given using this PLSQL block. So if you can execute this PLSQL block, first we need to create the procedure. Sorry, we'll go for this creation of procedure. Once the procedure is created, okay, procedure created successfully, we'll go for calling this block. See here, it will ask for salary. For example, I am given the salary as 10,000. It will give me the salary after 15% increment. So salary after increment is 11,500, because 10,000 plus 15% of 10,000 is 1,500. So total is 11,500. So the same PSAL worked here as an input and as a output. So input is taken, value is formatted, and same is written using the same argument which is passed. So like this, you can use this in out mode also into the procedure. I hope it is also clear to you. This we have done. Now after this stored procedure, the another subprogram or the PLSQL object is the stored function. It is similar as your procedure, because a function is a named PLSQL block. Procedure is also named PLSQL block that performs a task. Procedure also performs a task. Only the difference is the function returns a value to the calling environment, while as procedure may or may not return the value. Procedure may return single value, procedure may return multiple values, or procedure may not return the value. But for function, it is mandatory to return the value. That's why in functions syntax, the return statement is compulsory, because it is mandatory to return a value to the function. So you can see the syntax, which is more or less similar to the stored procedure. So if you can see here, create or replace, similar. If existing function is there into the system, that will be replaced by this new function. So create or replace function, that may be optional. Name of the function you need to give, and pass the arguments. So arguments will be passed with the data type. Then it is mandatory to write return data type. So return data type need not to mention the variable, but what is the data type of that variable, that needs to be mentioned. Then each, similarly, you can declare the variables if you want. Define some task performed by that function into begin section. In exception, you can write the exception. This is optional part. If you want to handle exceptions into the function, that you can handle, as we have seen into the lecture number 2, and then end it. We'll see one example for stored function. This is one example. Create or replace function. The name of function I have given as a check roll, and it is taking one value as the input. because nothing is written, mode is not written, so it is a in mode, that is a roll RO is one argument I am passing of number data type. And return also, it is returning the number. So return data type is number. Each I have declared one variable, that is mroll, and what is expected to be done by the stored function is select roll into mroll, right? So roll will be that roll number from the table will be put into mroll memory variable from student 11 table, where roll equals to RO. So whatever value will be passed to the function, that will be the input for this roll, right? So this roll, whatever is there, its value we want to keep into mroll. If it is successfully executed, then return one. Very simple thing I have taken. And if it is not returning, if it is not successful, for example, whatever roll number we are trying to search into table, it is not available. So this statement will not be executed successfully. So it will raise exception. If roll number not found, then our the inbuilt exception, no data found, will be raised. And if no data found is there, then Oracle engine will search for exception. Yes, it is already handled. So when no data found, then it will return 0. Means if roll number is available in table, then this statement will be executed successfully. If it is executed successfully, it will return 1. If it is not executed successfully because the roll number is not found, then it will go to exception section and it will display, it will return 0. Now this function is written. This function is checking whether roll number is present in table or not, right? Now what is left out? This function you can call into PLSQL block and pass this value of RO, because RO value, once it is passed, then our block will get executed. So see here, I have declared some variables. I am starting with begin. I am taking roll number from the user. Then I have called the function. How I am calling the function? Whatever is returned by this function, because function returns a value. The return, whatever it will return, that will be assigned to one variable, that is ch. So it may return 1 or 0, because our definition says like that in stored function, it may return 1 or 0, right? So if it is 1, if it is returning 1, that means the roll number was present and statement was executed successfully. So if ch equals to 1, it should say that roll number is present. Otherwise, it should say that roll number is not present. Otherwise means what? When it returns 0, then it should say that roll number is not present. So this function we have written to check whether roll number is present in table or not. So let us see. We'll try to create the function first. It is saying function created. If some error is there, then it may say function created with compilation error. And if it is like that, then it will not display the errors. To see the errors explicitly, you need to write show errors. Okay, after this function is created, we will call that function into PLSQL block. The function will try to execute this PLSQL block. Enter the value of roll, for example 1. It is saying roll number present. We will see into this table whether really roll number is present or not. Table is select star from, which is the table which we are using. It is a stud11 table. Stud11 table. Roll number 1 is present. We'll try to see if we'll put roll number 4, then what happens? Because roll number 4 is not available. Roll number 4, it is saying roll number not present, because roll number 4, when it comes, it will call this function. After calling this function, it will go to the no data found exception, and if no data found, it will return 0. And if it is returning 0, then it will go into else part and it will display roll number not present. So this is the function, which is very similar to our procedure, but the basic difference is function should return a value, procedure may or may not return the value. So if you can see here the difference between procedure and function, procedure executes as a PLSQL statement. So set of PLSQL statements you can give, it will get executed. It may return value, may not return value, but function invoked as a part of expression, because we can invoke that into the PLSQL block. It do not contain return clause in header, but here in function it is required because returning a value is mandatory. Procedure can return none, as I said, one or many values with the help of out and in out parameters that we have seen. To return the values by the procedure, we need out and in out parameters. But in function, it must return a value using return clause. Can also return one or many values with the help of out and in out parameters. So that also can be used into the function. So that is the basic difference between the procedure and function. If you want to delete the procedure or function which is already created, you can go for using the drop command. Drop procedure name you can write, or to delete the function you can write drop function name, the example which is also given here. So like this you can delete the procedures and the functions also. So in this session we have seen that what is the need of subprograms and what are the different subprograms available, that is procedures and functions. What is the difference between named and anonymous block, stored and unstored block? Anonymous blocks cannot be stored, but named blocks can be stored. In future they can be reused so that we can save our time and efficiency will be increased. So we have seen how to create procedure, how to create functions. So to save our time, we can create procedure and function once and it will be stored. If it is a repeated functionality, many times it will be called, then readily it will be available. Otherwise, each one who need that functionality needs to write that into PLSQL block for their requirement. But now that task will be saved. For example, we are having one functionality which is of 100 lines, and daily one or two users in that company requires to write that functionality. So why to write it again and again? Why to waste time? We can go for creating it as a function or procedure, and you can reuse in your PLSQL block. So traffic on network also will get saved using these subprograms like procedures and functions. Okay.